Yeah, Jackie Bossman in the house, we could start. All right, attendance is going out or has gone out. Please only say you're here if you're physically in this room, B207. If you're not physically in this room, you are not considered in attendance, which means you cannot vote, even though you get the email. And then those of you that did not get the attendance, that's because you're not a voting senator. Make sure you sign in on the way out. If you did not sign in, on your way here. All right, so it is 2:32, April 9th, 2024. We are going to start our April College Senate meeting post spring break, post eclipse, post very cloudy eclipse. Did anyone actually get to see the eclipse? You did?
Yeah.
Oh. In between the clouds. I got to see some of it on the after totality. I did not get to see before totality, so that was a kind of a bummer, and also a very Buffalo way to do the eclipse in Buffalo. So for Stefan Diggs, now there's no clear totality, but it is what it is, right? So welcome back. Of course, today's gorgeous outside, and I'm sure everyone has margaritas on the mind based on the snow that came last week. So hopefully you were somewhere warm and not getting snowed on. But it was actually chilly along the entire East Coast. So, but spring break's going to be a little bit later next year, so maybe we'll have some warmth with that. I was actually looking back at my memories on social media, and this week, 3 years ago in 2021, it was actually 85 degrees, and I remember taking my kids to the Hamburg Beach, which was not actually open, but I brought them there anyway, and we went to the beach because it was 85, and then there's years that it snows. So very Western New York of our weather this week. So bless you. So with that, we have one regular academic year Senate meeting left in May, and then our new academic term for Senate starts in June. So one of the things that'll come up in our governance update is that we do still have some vacancies for membership and for the meetings that start in June. So if you are thinking about wanting to be a senator, there's still time for that. The new senators start at the June 23 meeting. A few other things. We have our new deans are here today. So we have Adam Patterson, who's liberal arts. Adam, can you give us a wave? All right, there's Adam. And then we have Catherine Aiken, who is STEM, who's here today. So thank you very much for joining us. And it's awesome to have our academic and our deans and our students, deans of students here, because among faculty and our senior executive staff and counselors and library, being able to have open conversations at the College Senate about all things policy is what makes shared governance great. So the more people that we have that attend and participate, the better our policies and our everything for the colleges. So thank you for attending. There is a career and internship fair on April 16th, 17th, and 18th. It is next week. There's a flyer posted. And then I have a reminder for Professor Emeritus nominations. Those are due soon. I believe we have that posted on the site as well. Let me just pull that up. So Professor Emeritus are for our retired faculty. Let's see, do we have that on there?
I don't think it's on there.
No, I don't. You all got an email. So I'm just reminding you that if you have a retired person from your departments, that you want to get that done sooner than later, because that has to go to the president's office and then to the board of trustees. And there is, a little bit of time after somebody retires, but it's not like, hey, this person retired 5 years ago, let's give them an emeritus award. It has to be done within a certain amount of time after the retirement. Okay, so I believe it's 2 years? All right, and it's due April 30th. So it's actually not a terrible process. You need a nominator and a couple of letters. So it's not a heavy lift if you have someone that you feel is deserving of that award. And then they get announced at opening day in the fall semester. So it's a nice award. And it's 2 years after retirement. All right, so it's within 2 years of their retirement date. So think back. I know we had a couple last year, but we had a lot of retirements in recent years, so I'm sure there's people that were not nominated that are deserving. So think about that. President's report. Dr. Sagai is unable to be here today, so she wanted me to remind you of the Joan Bozer Auditorium dedication event, which is going to be next week at City Campus at 5:30, next Thursday, the 18th. And there's tickets available if you would like to attend. We got an email about that as well. The flyer is also posted on the Senate site, and we talked about it last month. Also, if you are connected to any community groups, please feel free to forward that out to those groups as well. Try to get it as much support for our college as possible. And then lastly, for part of the President's report, remember, registration is our greatest retention tool. So registration for summer, but also fall is open. We need students in our summer classes. We also need to register our students for the fall semester. The best way to get them to be here in the fall is to make sure they are registered before they walk out the door in May. So I know there's going to be an evening registration event coming up that Dr. Nealons will talk about quickly. But I want to challenge the city and the North Campus to match the South Campus faculty. All right, so South Campus faculty for the 7th or 8th semester in a row on their own has created a registration 2-day event. It'll be on the Wednesday, hang on, I gotta pull up my, yes, the 23rd, Tuesday the 23rd, and Wednesday the 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the library, and we're going to have food and drinks and prizes. So it took about 12 minutes this morning to coordinate with some text messages between some department chairs and myself at the South Campus. The deans of students and the president's office has funding for current students. So if you're going to put on an event for current students, you can have money to go towards that. So South Campus does not have hot food options, so we're going to have hot food available for our students that Tuesday and that Wednesday in the library, and we'll have prizes for students that come and register. And it's a coordinated effort. We have people that come in, like I'm not here on Tuesdays. I'm going to come in that entire Tuesday and do advisement for general studies. We talked to the ISS in general studies. They're going to come and join us. We have department chairs from every department at South Campus that are giving up their free time to come and do this. Because why? We need students to be here in the fall, because it's not only is it good for them, but it's good for the college and retention, and it's good to have that so that our classes run, right? That's the name of the game. We don't want to do last-minute cancellations or anything like that, because that does not work well for students. And we also don't want our students coming in August and not being able to make a schedule because there's classes aren't available for them anymore, right? So South Campus faculty and chairs, awesome job, well done. North Campus and City Campus, I challenge you to do the same thing. That concludes the President's report. We need to do the approval of the minutes from the March 2024 College Senate meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? Gordy, thank you. Second? Amy, thank you. Any comments or questions? Any objections? All right, with that, we're going to approve the March 2024 College Senate meeting minutes. Old business, Michael Rio, I'm going to call on you for governance.
So we're still trying to fill that list of vacancies from last meeting, and anyone that's interested or recommending someone to serve on the College Senate, have them contact myself or Colleen, or send an email to senategovernance@ecc.edu, please. It's a lot of fun. We all love being here. Bring more people in. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It is a lot of fun. And, you get to be part of the decision-making process, and you get to represent your units, and you get to represent your academic experience, your philosophy, and what you bring to the table to help improve the college and our students' experience here. This is the room where decisions are made. This is the room that voices are heard. If you are not feeling like your voice is not being heard, then email myself or Michael Rio and be part of the conversation and help make us make these decisions, right? It's kind of like voting. You can't complain about who's in power if you didn't vote, right? You can't complain about policies and what's going on at the college if there are positions available for you to be part of and you aren't going to be part of it, all right? So join our team and let's help continue making this college great. Strategic Enrollment Management, Dr. Erickson Nealons.
Thank you, and thank you for that endorsement too about the registration for fall. It's such a great opportunity to get our students registered before they leave for this semester. So let me start then with the summer enrollment at this time. As of this afternoon, there's 806 students that are registered for summer, slightly up than where we were at this point in time last year. The pace though for summer has declined a bit in the last week or so. But I do think that as we look at then registering for the fall semester, it does go hand in hand with their summer opportunities. So as you are talking to students about registering for the fall semester that are currently here, I do encourage you to talk to them about the opportunity of summer registration and if those classes are a good fit for them and their academic pursuits. For the spring semester, so there was just an email that went out from the IRAP office that was able to show how many of our current students here in spring of 2024 that are registered. This is 5,539 students. This does not include our high school advanced studies population. These are students that are currently here that are matriculated or not matriculated into the program. There's been an estimated about 1,900 students that are able to graduate this semester, which leaves us with a little over 3,600 students that are eligible to return. Our goal by the end of the spring semester, so a little bit over a month away, was to have 80% of our current students registered. So I put it at 2,900. As of right now, we're at 610 students. So I agree, this is a really remarkable time. I know how busy this time of year is as we prepare then for the finals and end of the semester. But this is a really critical time for us to be able then to hit our goals for the fall semester. Nothing can be more impactful than meeting with each and every single student this semester to help them with then their registration for fall of 2024. Certainly one of the topics across the country that has been an area of concerns related to the FAFSA. So please note that for the FAFSA, that's not only new students coming in for next academic year, but our current students as well. We want to make sure that they apply for their FAFSA. We do have an event that we're working with both the City of Buffalo, Mayor Brown. I had an opportunity to talk with him on his talk show on Sunday a few days ago in sponsoring this or promoting this. Thank you also to many of the team members in enrollment management that are going to be present at the event on April 11th. This is an opportunity to collaborate across all of the SUNY partners here in Western New York to do a FAFSA completion night. So individuals within the community, parents, prospective students, current students, have an opportunity to go to East Community High School and work with our team as well as also all across SUNY to be able to help them to complete their FAFSA. I also want to thank Phil and the admissions team. They're also doing a FAFSA catch-up day here at City Campus, or not here at City Campus, but at City Campus on April 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. Another opportunity to work with our community partners to help students complete the FAFSA. As you are working with students in your classes here on campus, please mention them about completing the FAFSA. This year more than ever, given the changes, the best thing that any student can do right now is to apply for the FAFSA. So thank you to our financial aid team as well. I know that they're working tirelessly to be able to update with the system and the changes that are happening, but looking at the students and putting those first, completing the application is the best thing that they can do at this point in time. And then in terms of fall, you saw the numbers that were there, so we're working on that. Open house we have next week. So at this point in time, we have about 400 total individuals that are registered or RSVP'd to come to the 3-day event. A little over 200 students right now are already RSVP'd for that, so I'm excited for those 3 days. Just as a reminder, Tuesdays at City Campus, Wednesdays at South, and Thursdays here at North. We also are doing exactly what was mentioned here last year. We had a new student registration event on May 1st, so we're continuing that opportunity here again with this year. It is open certainly too if you have any current students that it would be beneficial for you to meet with them. Fine. We're going to continue to promote it out to the community as well as our high school partners that this is a unique opportunity for new students to come here and get registered across all 3 campuses on May 1st. So please work with your respective academic deans as an opportunity to participate in this registration event. It's a really great way to help students that are coming into the school to get registered before their academic year ends. And so it's a great way to attract them and keep them here. Thank you.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Nealons? All right. I have one. Are you going to send out an email about the FAFSA catch-up nights and things like that for the faculty in case we have students that would want to take advantage of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I can send those out. I'll send that with you and it's part of the Senate report.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And then we have a new financial aid director. Yes? Anyone? Do you know that, Eric?
I don't know if Chris is here, but we do have a new team. Both Chris and Rick have been here, a few months now,
Okay.
and really helping them to lead that team.
All right. Thank you. Facilities, I don't think I saw Paul Danu. All right, no Paul Danu for facilities. Academic Standards Committee, Amy Yoder could not be here today. As the co-chair, I can give that update. So we passed a policy on academics with academic forgiveness with the 36 credit hour adjustment and fresh start. It did go to the board policy committee. It was passed there, and then it was tabled at the most recent board meeting. So there will be a meeting between myself, Dr. Sagai, and Amy Yoder to discuss what is needed to for the policy, to see what we need to do as far as any sort of adjustments or address any concerns that the Board of Trustees may have about that policy. That is upcoming. I believe that's actually on Thursday. So I'll keep you posted. Maybe it'll go through for the April Board of Trustees meeting. I don't really have any other information at this time about that or what the issue was. So again, we have a meeting coming up, and we'll keep you posted. Academic integrity, Sabrina is not here. And then NA procedures, we had several people reach out to Amy and I to be part of NA procedures. So the goal with NA procedures is for us to have procedures in place for the fall semester for guidance for faculty members as to when we should or should not NA a student at the 3-week roster point, right? Like what is considered attendance for an online class? What is considered attendance for a hybrid class? What is considered attendance for a seated class? And what tools are we using? That kind of thing. All right. So, so that is forthcoming. Another thing that we are going to be discussing is the possibility for department chairs to be able to drop students from classes. Right. So right now, just the registrar can drop students, or students themselves can drop themselves from workday classes on workday, and we're going to look into possibly having department chairs have that ability as well, so that way if students need to drop a class and pick up a class, they can do it with advisement with the department chair instead of having to go to the registrar's office, drop the class, and then come back, and then maybe that spot's gone, right? So, so that's something else that the Academic Standards Committee is going to be talking about and bringing to senior executive staff. I have to keep talking. So Andy Heisey wasn't able to be here today. So we have the new diversity committee. They had their first meeting right before the break. We are suggesting that if anyone is teaching or trying to change a course that's going to meet the diversity requirement, that you should be part of that committee, right? So that committee talks about the different diversity requirements that are required through SUNY, but also that committee is looking at courses to be approved for ECC to hit that diversity requirement, right? And so one of the things that that committee looks at is to make sure that we're just not ramming classes through so we could say, yep, diversity, right? We want to actually make sure that they fulfill a diversity requirement and not just something that's, specific to a department, that it's more open and through the umbrella of diversity. So if you or your department is talking about making one of your courses hit that diversity requirement for SUNY, you or a representative from your department should be on that committee. If you are teaching a course that hits that diversity requirement, you should probably also be on that committee. All right, so if that is you, please email myself or Andy Heisey about joining that committee. And on the agenda, we do have a link to the Gen Ed requirements for the diversity requirement. What's that? Oh, and the document is also posted. And then I'm just going to read this report from Gen Ed really quickly. There's going to be a meeting this Thursday to address a number of things, including the general education requirement status of EN 286/CA 286, recommendations for the approvals of CO 285, IT 105, and PA 111. I have no idea what classes those are. I apologize. I'm just reading this from this piece of paper. I'm not even going to pretend I know what those classes are. And possible revisions to the ILO rubrics for ethics and values and global perspectives. Related, the diversity committee met in an ad hoc form before break and is still looking for members. So that part I did know. But those three classes, again, I don't know exactly what they are off the top of my head, but that's what the diversity committee is doing. They're looking at those three classes in particular, making sure that they fulfill the SUNY Gen Ed requirements. And if they don't, then the committee is going to be making recommendations to those departments for what they need to do to change their rubric or their outline, whatever it is, whatever they need to change in order to hit that diversity requirement. All right. Does anyone have any other old business? Linda?
Question about what are the requirements to teach a diversity course? Like, could a math teacher teach it if they created the course?
If the math department created a class and put it through general education and the curriculum committee and it was found to meet the diversity requirement, then yes. So if it's a diversity class within a department, that department can teach it. Does that help? But like you couldn't teach, cultural anthropology as a math teacher because that's not your discipline. Anything else? All right, new business. We have a Faculty Council of Community Colleges plenary coming up at the end of this week, and I'm going to call on Jackie Bossman.
Hi, everybody. Okay, yeah, so this week I'll be attending the FCCC plenary to represent SUNY Erie faculty and share governance with SUNY. And at the plenary, we have an opportunity to meet with SUNY administrators, including the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor of Community Colleges, and there will also be other administrators. There will be presidents from other community colleges. Jefferson and Corning will be there to present to us and to engage in conversation with us about what it means to be part of a community college and to be part of SUNY here in New York. So I'll be representing Erie there, and then I will have a full report at our next Senate meeting. But prior to me leaving, which is tomorrow, so it's not a lot of time, but if you want to reach out, send me an email if you have any particular question you would like me to take to SUNY. For example, about diversity, equity, inclusion, social justice, or anything else on your mind, SUNY related, just shoot me an email. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackie. And the plenary is really a great opportunity because we do get to, rub elbows with some SUNY folks, and we do get to have conversations across the other community colleges, but also members of the SUNY Board of Trustees are there, as well as vice chancellors, other presidents, and things like that. I'll be joining Jackie for Friday, which I won't be there the whole time, but I'll be there for Friday. So Friday is kind of, I guess, the big day with different SUNY speakers and all that good stuff. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, and the group photos on Friday. So.
Oh, group photos. So it'll count. We were there because we'll be in the photo. But looking forward to joining. It's been a while since I've been able to attend a plenary, so it's always a great learning opportunity. All right, College Day. We had talked I know we had College Day right before the break, and College Day was on the agenda for the March meeting, but we didn't have anyone here. But so one of the things that we had talked about, and I see Mary Ann here today, about possibly having more faculty to work with you, because I know you're kind of out in a silo, and give you more of a team to help with the planning of those activities. I know are we going to have Summer Institute? Have we talked about it? Yeah. So if anyone is interested in helping, right, Marian's always looking for presenters, ideas, things that we need to do together as a college. So let's get some more increased faculty input, help Marianne out so that we can plan these days for our needs as faculty and staff. And there we go. So I have financial aid. There's a new director. Erickson did hint to the new FAFSA. I don't know if you follow some of these things online, but the financial aid is, if students don't fill out their FAFSA, it will be problematic for them in receiving aid, is really the nicest way to say it. If you just Google FAFSA and FAFSA issues, there is so much stuff out there and how it could negatively impact our students if they don't fill out their FAFSA. And it's really important that we do that. Does anyone have anything regarding financial aid and FAFSA they might want to add to that? So there's one of the things, there's a federal issue that if you fill it out and you make a mistake, you cannot correct it. And it's frozen. Your FAFSA application is frozen. It's been like that since January. Yeah. So Mary's been working on one since January for her student. Eric, and then Phil.
Also, it's important to announce that it's not connected to the TAP application anymore. So students have to go separately and fill out the TAP application to HESC.
Okay, that's good to know. Eric?
Yeah, and a lot of what you were mentioning about those processing challenges is when a student completes their FAFSA, that goes up to the federal government, which then releases to the individual campuses their ICER. So until those ICERs are submitted and verified, that application that you had submitted, that's still the one that's on record. So it is where the best thing right now, again, is students to submit that FAFSA so that then the processing can happen, and then those revisions and other corrections can be done. But we're not alone. It's across the entire country. As the changes to the FAFSA here are something that has not happened for decades. There's people in financial aid that their entire career they would have had the one form that's currently or had been enacted before. So there are definitely processing challenges with it, but the best thing, again, is working with each of our students, current students, new students, get them to apply for FAFSA, and as Phil mentioned, applying then for TAP as well.
Thank you. Amy?
Just from personal experience as well, the parents have to, one custodial parent or one parent has to complete an electronic signature and has to provide information as well. I think some of our students may have some issues with that. So just to be aware that that's a portion that could be a barrier for some of our students.
Right, so you mean, just to clarify, so if a student does not have a parent willing to help with the FAFSA application, they cannot submit a FAFSA application? Correct, okay.
That is not correct. If the student does not feel potentially safe or is not able to get a parent, guardian, whoever it is that's financially, that's actually one of the benefits with the changes to the FAFSA is that now they have that freedom to be able to apply that previously they would not have had that opportunity to apply. So in theory, there is the opportunity that more students may be able then to complete the FAFSA than what had previously been done. But again, the processing of it is still ongoing and is happening across the country.
All right. So yeah, so FAFSA, so register the students, make sure they're FAFSA, and then TAP. What about Pell? Is that separate?
Yeah, that's part of
That's
your
part of the
FAFSA.
FAFSA
So
still?
the federal aid, so it's Pell, as well as your loans, all of those are then based on your eligibility. Different aid is packaged to you, and it's that packaging part that right now that can't happen until the ICERs are completed. So that's the part of it that right now is still being processed.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions regarding FAFSA and the new process? All right, something else that came up in Senate Executive Committee was something that we need you to be aware of as well when we're registering students. Some students that receive Excelsior funding are having workday holds. I'm going to call on Jackie.
Yeah, so I don't know a ton about this. It's more just something that I've heard has been occurring, and it has something to do with the Excelsior, with Excelsior, right? But essentially, what's going on is that a hold will appear on a student's Workday account, so you'll be unable to register them. It has something to do with their Excelsior funding, and that hold does not exist for them. It does prevent them, but they are actually all paid up. Okay, so I meant to say it does prevent them from registering, but they are all paid up. And there's been a handful of students where this has occurred. And if you notice that your student has a hold, that a student you're registering has a hold, and they're like, well, I'm pretty sure I'm all paid up, then maybe just have them go speak to an advisor or to the bursar's office or something like that. Erickson, do you have sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, taking my job over, Jackie.
Yeah,
All right,
no, I'm happy
Erickson.
to. The Excelsior Scholarship is the last dollar scholarship for students, but there are different requirements that need to be met. So it is something that on the student's account, there's what's called a provisional award that'll be used then to defer for tuition, but it's a full calendar year because there's a certain number of credit hours that students have to then be able to complete to maintain that eligibility. So in terms of the way that it'll be on their account, it'll be a provisional award, but that aid is anticipated to be applied to their balance, but based off of whatever the student's fees may be, that may be then where there still is a hold. So it's not necessarily something related to Excelsior or that, but talking to the student then about what fees or past due balance that they may have. So that is certainly something to have that conversation with. And in their Workday account, you can look to see what that hold is for the student and be able to see then kind of the next steps from there.
Jackie?
So again, I'm kind of a messenger for this, so maybe I'll put you in contact with the folks who I spoke to, because what they discovered was that there were holds that represented some sort of fee, right, that they had paid and it wasn't being carried over. Or maybe so is that what you were explaining, or?
Right, so that fees might not be covered by Excelsior?
Right, so that's where you gotta look to see, what is it that that student is eligible for. So it may be something that there's the pending aid, right, for their tuition, but if there are other fees or balances that that student still has, then there still then would be a hold because the scholarship may not apply.
I feel like we should have a workshop on the ins and outs of Excelsior Scholarship for our faculty and advisors. Because my understanding was that if they qualified, it was just 30 credit hours, get it done in an academic year, period. So I didn't know about the fees being extra or anything along those lines. Is it only tuition? It's only tuition.
Right, so that's where it's that last dollar scholarship for tuition. So there's different, what's the best way to put it, hierarchies in terms of how the different aid is packaged here at SUNY Erie. And for students who qualify for the Excelsior Scholarship, which is fewer because of the way that many of our students will then receive based on their financial aid from Pell or federal aid, along with the New York State TAP. They may then have that tuition and fees already covered. But for those that don't, that Excelsior Scholarship, if the student opts in, maintains that 30 credit hours, that then is used for that more tuition coverage. So there may still be then fees that that student then is responsible for that would prevent registration.
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie. One more.
Can I ask a question? Okay, so because again, I hate to reinforce this, I am a messenger, meaning my knowledge of this is through the game of telephone, and I don't have a lot of details. My understanding of the situation that was brought to my attention is that there was a hold that the student actually didn't have, right? It was a balance that the student had paid or was fully covered, and the solution, there was a solution to this problem, right? That the bursar's office had resolved this issue or someone had resolved this issue. I don't want to make any specific claims here for this student, right? So are we saying, is that, guess I should ask then, should I put these folks in contact with you, or?
Yeah, I would say any student or any faculty member that has questions as it relates to their account, please, I'm happy to help. And if I'm not the right person, I'll make sure to get them over to who is and work with you, the student, whoever it is, to reconcile that issue. So yeah, forward over to me. I'm happy to help.
Great. So perhaps the bursar may be able to supply a list of students that might have Excelsior holds, and we can kind of
Yeah, I would actually,
look at them.
any student in which you then see that there's a hold as you're working on registration and you can't figure out what the issue may be, forward over to me and I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you. All right, workday holds with Excelsior. Dr. Nealons is your man. All right. Do we have any other new business? All right, so with that, that is going to conclude the public portion of the April College Senate meeting. Our next College Senate meeting is in May, and I'm going to look up the date so I don't mess it up. It's going to be May 14th. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't do graduation. Well, I don't know why that's not on there. New business. Dan Frontera, graduation.
All right, so 44 days, mark your calendar, and we need a lot of help. Last year, there were 60 members of the teaching faculty that joined us in the processional. So far, only 25 of you have signed up. I will come and start to strong arm people if I need to. 15 amazing volunteers, still need some more help with that. Right now, approximately 1,250 students are eligible. Looks like we're going to have anywhere between 700 and 800. Please, reemphasize to your students in the classroom. There are 2 steps to the application for graduation, an initial and then there's a secondary survey. And we've got about a 30 to 40% that have not completed the second portion of the survey. So reemphasize to them, please, they just need to make sure they filled out that second half of it so we know they're showing up, we know they're coming in, we can have their name on a roster at the bookstore. Caps and gowns will start to become available on April 30th. And if you have photos that you want to submit, there is a link. Please, by all means, we want to see you there, we want to enjoy with us. We have a very special treat at the end of commencement this year. So we're hoping our students are going to stick around for that. Questions, concerns, or comments? Awesome, thank you very much.
Dan, I'm going to ask you the question I asked you earlier. So May 1st was the deadline for graduation. Is that a hard deadline?
April 1st was the deadline
April
for
1st,
to
yeah.
apply. It is a Semper Gumby, always flexible. What will happen is if a student applies now, they may or may not end up in the program. They can still apply for graduation. They can still have their diploma marked for May. They can still join us for commencement. They may or may not appear in the program. That's the only drawback.
Awesome. So what if a student decides they want to attend on May 14th?
Come on down. We will make it happen. This is about inclusion. This is about making sure we get to celebrate the students. They get to be there for their families. So we'll do everything we can to make sure they can get there.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any other questions for him before I? All right. He's officially off the hot spot. Thank you. Is there any other new business that I forgot to put on the agenda and you're sitting here and you're like, she forgot this? No whining about it once we turn the cameras off. All right. So again, that concludes the public portion of the April College Senate meeting. Our next College Senate meeting is going to be May 14th, the last week of the semester, a week before graduation, which is what cued me into the fact that I forgot graduation on the agenda. So with that, get your students registered, register them for summer, register them for the fall. Get prizes if you come up with something. Like I said, it took us 12 minutes via text message this morning with about seven department chairs at South. And we ran over to the library. Hey, could we use the space? Yep. Contacted the Dean of Students office. Hey, can you help us out with food? Yep. Awesome. And we made a flyer and we sent it out. 12 minutes of work today to coordinate. All right. So I challenge you, City and North, to match South Campus for a registration event. And I'll see everybody on May 14th.